Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. In the context of the current unstable international situation, geopolitical tensions between China and the United States have become increasingly apparent. The United States spares no effort to suppress China and continues to badmouth the Chinese economy. However, as a representative of American technology companies, Apple has chosen to increase investment in China, which can be said to be in opposition to the Biden administration. Apple CEO Tim Cook's visit to China this time gave a thumbs up to the Chinese market. This move will inevitably make people begin to doubt Apple's situation. What difficulties did Apple encounter? Market values suffered heavy losses. Antitrust investigation wiped out $800 billion. Although Tim Cook's trip is for the opening of a direct-operated store in Shanghai, in fact, his visit may be just an external excuse. Apple's real purpose may be to try to resolve conflicts between China and the United States. Apple faces a thorny issue, namely the sudden launch of an antitrust investigation in the United States, which is bad news for any company. Antitrust investigations involve more than just verbal accusations. Once found to be illegal, the consequences will be disastrous. Microsoft was eventually ruled to be broken up because of monopoly issues. Technology companies are extremely sensitive to antitrust issues. Apple's stock price naturally fell sharply when it encountered an antitrust investigation in the United States. Apple's stock price plummeted 4.09% in a single day. For a company with such a huge market value, this is by no means a small amount. According to simple calculations, Apple's market value evaporated by 800 billion yuan overnight, a figure that is almost close to Huawei's total revenue. Although the data is only the tip of the iceberg and cannot fully reflect the seriousness of the problem, if the United States files an antitrust lawsuit against Apple and causes it to suffer heavy losses, the situation will be even more severe. Cook's visit triggered speculation and discussion in the industry, and there may be more complex motives hidden behind it. Perhaps Apple is currently actively responding to the US government's antitrust investigation, but there are still many unknowns about its future development direction and fate. The antitrust investigation in the United States has pushed Apple to the forefront, and the company is facing severe challenges in public opinion and the market. Apple's tough stance may be questioned by the public. Apple has a tough attitude towards possible antitrust investigations in the United States, and even ignores them. Such an indifferent attitude will surely arouse doubts from the outside world. Although Apple is extremely sensitive to antitrust issues and will never compromise lightly, Cook's visit to China and his repeated opposition to the Biden administration hinted at many problems. Apple may be trying to resist regulation, but if it falls into an antitrust investigation, the company will be hit hard, incur large capital expenditures, and may even affect the launch of new products. This is not good news for consumers. However, behind the antitrust investigation is the maintenance of order. If Apple's behavior is suspected of being illegal, it will be subject to legal constraints. Of course, Apple may use its lobbying power and relationship network to resist and respond to antitrust measures in an attempt to save the country under legal restrictions. The United States has launched an antitrust investigation into Apple, which must have some profound implications. Apple may have an opportunity in this storm to launch various actions, but the U.S. Department of Justice does not know everything. Apple may be warned of an antitrust investigation, warning it not to go too far, otherwise it may suffer the fate of being split up. The current stage is only an individual antitrust investigation. At the same time, the United States may secretly support Apple, deliver news in advance to prepare it, or exert some pressure at a certain point in time. This will allow Apple to perform various performances in the antitrust investigation, which can be called a well-choreographed show. Struggling with market regulation angers the United States. Faced with Apple's attitude on antitrust issues, market regulatory authorities may be helpless and unable to effectively maintain fair competition in the market. Therefore, in the U.S. antitrust investigation, Apple seems to be getting carried away and can seize this opportunity and use all its strength. The U.S. Judicial Department has long seen through Apple's tactics. The antitrust investigation they initiated may be just a warning, and they are using this incident to send a signal to Apple, making it clear that continuing in this direction may lead to a split. This time the investigation is just the beginning. On the other hand, the United States may set the stage for Apple behind the scenes, convey the news in advance and create pressure, so that Apple can use antitrust litigation to perform a series of performances. The whole process is like a carefully choreographed show. In this antitrust war, Apple may face many difficulties, but the key is not whether it can resolve the crisis, but whether it can stage a fascinating show. Neither the United States nor China are weak and can be bullied. Both sides understand each other's thoughts. Apple's antitrust journey is full of ups and downs, but it also contains infinite possibilities, and a wonderful scene is about to take place. While Apple is facing U.S. antitrust investigations, Tim Cook's meaningful trip has attracted widespread attention. The company's market value has been hit hard, its resolute attitude may be questioned by the outside world, and warnings from the United States are intertwined with regulatory struggles. In this antitrust game, Apple may face many challenges, but it also has opportunities to resolve the crisis through clever layout. This seemingly battle between the United States and Apple is actually a sophisticated psychological game. China is waiting and watching, looking forward to this exciting show.